This is
Cast.
Hello there, and welcome to a brand new episode of my podcast, Podcast Racing. Today, I am going to be talking about 2021 in terms of movies, both movies coming out and just the state of the movie industry in general. And with me, I'm joined once again with my good friend Roxy. How are you doing, Roxy?
Hey, Colton. I'm doing great today.
That's good. That's good. So, we're recording this episode the day before Thanksgiving. So, real quick, I want to ask you, do you have any, despite COVID, do you have any big, Thanksgiving plans or anything like that?
Not really big plans. I'm gonna see my parents and then probably make a tofurkey.
Nice, nice. That's cool. Yeah, I don't really have any big plans either. Just dinner with immediate family. Nothing too extravagant or anything like that. So, but today, like I said before, we're going to be talking about 2021 for films in general, both with how it'll be for the film industry and also just movies coming out in general. So, Roxy, are there any films coming out in 2021 that are either still scheduled to be coming out in 2021 or have been postponed to that year that you're really looking forward to?
I mean, in 2021, definitely. I've been looking forward to the remake of Candyman for a while.
Yeah, I heard about that. I'm not a big horror fan myself, and I've never actually seen the original Candyman, but I don't know. It looks interesting. I think Jordan Peele, who wrote the script and producing it, is extremely talented, and so yeah, we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, I'm just a big fan of his horror movies, so yeah, I'm really excited to see that one. I know I was really looking forward to the Black Widow movie.
Yeah, I'm a big Marvel fan,
Yeah.
and I'm really looking forward to Black Widow as well.
Yeah, and then the new Jurassic World, but that's not going to come out until 2022, I don't think.
Yeah, no, that's not going to come out for quite a while, and that can even be delayed again if COVID continues to be around for a while.
Yeah, and it's hard to even tell when they're coming out because they keep pushing them back further and further.
Yeah, well, I think with the Jurassic Worlds, I think it's called Jurassic World Dominion. I think with that one, they have been shooting actually in New Zealand, I believe. I'm not sure if they're were shut down or not because they did resume shooting on the Batman, which is also now scheduled to come out 2022, but they shut down production on that one briefly because of Robert Pattinson getting COVID.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. I'm just of course. When I heard Robert Pattinson was going to be Batman, I was so excited.
Yeah, I think he's a really good actor, and I think that he'll do a really good job, and I really liked that trailer.
Yeah, I definitely want to see that. What about you? What are you looking most forward to?
So I'm going to try to name films that are not really big blockbuster films that everybody's talking about. So there's the obvious ones. There's the obvious ones like we mentioned, Black Widow, another Marvel film, Eternals, Matrix 4, the James Bond film, No Time to Die, Quiet Place Part 2. These are films that everybody has been talking about really, and so I'm going to try to mention films that are a bit more obscure coming out in 2021. But the first one I'm going to mention is another kind of big blockbuster film coming out that a lot of people are talking about. I was really looking forward to seeing Dune, which was supposed to come out on December 18th, but then it got pushed back to October 5th of next year. It has an all-star cast with Timothée Chalamet leading it, and I really love the director, Denis Villeneuve. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I really like this cast, and I really like the concept of the book, and I also liked the trailer, and so I'm really looking forward to Dune. I am bummed that I'm not going to be able to see it this year, but come October 5th, if it's safe enough, I'm buying a ticket for opening night and sitting in the front row.
Yeah, Dune's gonna be very interesting. I love a classic sci-fi. I think I read a bit of the book like years ago, and it's like, so yeah, that's gonna be exciting. And Timothy Chalamet, love him.
Yeah, he's a great actor. Oscar
Hmm.
Isaac, Rebecca Ferguson,
Yeah,
Josh
fantastic
Brolin.
cast.
Yeah, it's a really great cast, and many of them have worked with Denis before. So I mean, no wonder that they signed up for this movie. But more obscure films that not as many people are talking about that I'm looking forward to seeing. Wes Anderson's The French Dispatch, which also will feature Timothy Chalamet, and as well as Wes Anderson regulars like Bill Murray, Owen Wilson, and Tilda Swinton. I'm really looking forward to that one as well. I really like Wes Anderson a lot, especially Rushmore, Grand Budapest Hotel, and Moonrise Kingdom, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what wackiness, zaniness is in store for us with the French Dispatch.
Yeah, honestly, I'll watch anything that Wes Anderson directs. I just sets and costumes, definitely my jam. So, and like he excels at that
Oh
so
yeah,
well. Yeah.
oh yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Uh, two more films I'll talk about is, well, I have a whole list of films that I'm really looking forward to, but like three more films I'll mention is an A24 film called The Green Knight, which that I'm a big fan of A24 as a studio. They've made some of my favorite films in recent memory, like Moonlight, Hereditary, and Eighth Grade, and Uncut Gems, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing their they're a fantasy film from them, The Green Knight, which is based off of an old tale of one of Arthur's knights, Sir Gawain, who goes to
Yeah, yeah.
I think I'm not
It's
sure.
Gawain actually.
Oh, it's pronounced Gawain.
Yeah, Sir Gawain.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'm not good with pronunciations, as you guys can tell, but yeah,
No,
it's
that's
like
okay. Me neither.
yeah, it's like I don't know exactly the whole tale, but I confess I'm mostly just excited for it because it's A24, and rarely does A24 let me down
Yeah,
with movies.
yeah, their stuff has been great. But like Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, I've read that one before. I can't remember the story exactly, but I would definitely be excited to see that.
I'm pretty sure I've read it too. I just can't really remember
Mhm.
like everything about what it's about. But another
Yeah.
film that I'm really looking forward to seeing is I'm a big fan of Edgar Wright. So his next film, Last Night in Soho, I'm really looking forward to seeing that one. I'm a big fan of his work, his comedic work, but I'm intrigued to see how he'll do in a straight up like horror genre.
I'm not really familiar with that one. I haven't heard of that one yet.
Are you familiar with Edgar Wright's work at all?
Not really, no.
You might have seen one of his films. It's just that you probably didn't know that it was him. He made Baby Driver, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Hot
Yeah,
Fuzz, Dawn of the
yeah,
Dead.
like I'm familiar with Scott Pilgrim, and that's pretty much it. Like my interest in it was mostly based off the comic book. I love the film though, just
Well,
like aesthetically.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but
Edgar
like,
Wright is a director of Scott Pilgrim, and usually his films
yeah.
are comedic, but Last Night in Soho is going to be a straight up horror film, which will star Anya Taylor-Joy from The Witch and The Queen's Gambit.
Okay, yeah, yeah, I love her. I watched The Queen's Gambit recently.
It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Fantastic.
And one last film I'll mention is this film is coming out a lot sooner than the other films I've mentioned. It's from director Lee Daniels, who also did Precious and the Butler. It's called The United States
Hmm.
versus Billie Holiday, and it's about Billie Holiday, and
Yeah.
basically she has an affair with a I forget, like, I think he's an FBI agent or something like that. Jimmy Sullivan. I forget the name, but I think Lee Daniels is a very interesting director, and I've been hearing like early like Oscar buzz about the movie, and it's a film that like I've heard a little bit of Oscar buzz, but like basically all of my friends, or at least the ones that I talk to regularly about movies, have not even heard of it. And I don't know, I keep hearing from like critics and whatever that this is going to be like a big like Oscar movie, and it's about Billie Holiday and the actor from one of the actors from Moonlight who played the older version of Sharon. He plays like the FBI agent, and it's apparently like this
Mhm.
like dark comedy slash like but mostly a heavy drama kind of film, and apparently it features like uh, a really incredible breakout performance from non-actress Andra Day, I think, who plays Billie Holiday.
Yeah, that sounds good. Like, he's such a good director. Like, everything he does is really good. So, and it's already got Oscar buzz. So, like, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, yeah, that one,
Yeah.
United States versus Billie Holiday, that one's coming out in like February, I think. So
Hmm.
I don't know, like, so yeah, I think I don't know, like, if that date will stick. It probably will because theaters, I mean, theaters are starting to close again, but there are some that are still open, and so like the Croods 2, the Croods sequel, and that Vince Vaughn body swap movie Freaky have been all been released in
Hmm.
theaters recently. So yeah, so like I have a feeling that there's going to be some theaters that are still going to stay open, and films like the United States versus Billie Holiday and other like films that studios are going to want to get Oscar attention are going to be released in January and February, because the Oscars Academy has decided to extend the criteria for films considered for the upcoming Oscar ceremony. Like usually it's just straight up from like, for example, like usually at the Oscars it'll just be from like January to December of last year, but because of COVID, they extended it where it's like at the next Oscars, films in consideration are from January 2020 to February of 2021, where usually it would be
Yeah.
just until December 2020, but they extended it because of, COVID. But
COVID, man, affecting everything. Like, a lot.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm really tired of COVID, and I'm looking forward to when things go back to normal, which will hopefully be sooner than later. I don't think it's gonna go back to normal until like probably like mid to late 2021 though, because you still have a lot of people like, not being that careful. But yeah, hopefully all these films that are scheduled to come out in 2021, like the ones we've mentioned, and also other films like Matrix 4, Mission Impossible
Hmm.
7, Shang-Chi, also another Marvel film. All these films, I hope that they're able to stick with their current release dates, but I don't know. They might get delayed again, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah, but speaking of which, I want to ask you, do you think that do you think that all these films will actually like their release dates now? I mean, they've been postponed already, but do you think that they'll be postponed again, or do you think that the quote unquote new release dates will actually stick for once?
Honestly, I think at least a good percentage of them are gonna get postponed again, because like some of the ones we talked about are like still in production, and the production's like been halted. And like with cases just like continuously rising, and like things where like actors on sets are catching things, and like writers only being able to meet through Zoom and stuff, it's definitely affecting it. I like that they have like a window. I'm not believing any dates thus far,
Yeah,
unless they're like have it ready and they're like, we're gonna release it on streaming, and then like, because there's a possibility that like cases are gonna go up and we'll go back into like a strictly imposed quarantine, and theaters are gonna have to close again.
I
Yeah.
keep hearing that as much as I like the theater viewing experience, I keep hearing that Black Widow is going to be just straight released onto Disney Plus, and if they did
Mhm.
that, honestly, I wouldn't be that mad about it because at this point, I just want a new film, you know?
I wouldn't be upset if Disney Plus just like released Black Widow just straight to streaming. But the way that they released Mulan, they released it and then you had to pay an extra $30
I really
just
hope
to
they don't
watch
do
it.
it.
That was
Yeah, I really hope they don't do that with Black Widow too. I really hope they don't.
yeah, I hope they don't either. But like what is it like Christmas Wonder Woman's gonna just be released on what is it, HBO?
It's both actually. It's on Christmas.
Okay.
Wonder Woman 1984 is going to be released in theaters and HBO Max, and also on Christmas, the next Disney Pixar film Soul is going to be released straight to Disney Plus. Thankfully, with no extra price tag though, which is good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. Hopefully they learn from Mulan that no one likes that.
Yeah, and hopefully they'll learn the same with like Black Widow too. But
Mm-hmm.
honestly, like I'm surprised that like I'm glad but also surprised that Disney is releasing Soul for quote unquote free on Disney Plus because
Yeah.
Soul is a movie where, like Pixar is such a big like brand, like marketable brand and basically uh like what Pixar is kind of a rarity in Hollywood because they're all like original stories and yet they sell really well because of the Disney and Pixar name. And so Soul would have done really well in theaters, like most Pixar films do. But I thought that I mean, and I'm not the only one. There are probably like a lot of people who thought that if Soul gets released to Disney Plus, they'll probably do a price tag on it, just like with Mulan, because Mulan costs like $200 to make. But
Yeah.
and Soul also was pretty expensive movie to make, but now they're releasing it for quote unquote free on Disney Plus because you still have to pay for Disney Plus. But honestly, like I'm pleasantly surprised that Disney did that, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Soul and Wonder Woman, I guess, on streaming directly because I'm not risking going out to the theater to see Wonder Woman.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not going to go out to theaters again for a while, and I don't typically have any like problem with streaming. But like you usually said before, you were like a fan of the theater going experience, and I mean I like it too. But honestly, I don't see a lot of movies in theaters, and I think might be a slight diversion. How do you think like just in general this whole like releasing it on streaming versus theaters is like affecting like the movie experience?
So, me personally, I usually prefer watching a movie, at least a new movie, in a theater. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy seeing it on the big screen with the surround sound and discussing the film with fellow like people in the audience in the theater afterwards. Like, regardless of whether it's a big blockbuster like Avengers Endgame or the A24 horror film The Lighthouse with Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. Both of those movies, I was so impressed by both movies from a visual and or entertainment standpoint. And then afterwards, I would talk to like the fellow, other people in the theater about it. Like after seeing Avengers Endgame, we would all talk about how cool it was when uh, Cap picked up Thor's hammer, or like oh that Easter egg, or oh that Easter egg. And after seeing The Lighthouse, I'm pretty sure I was the only one in the theater who liked the movie. So I talked to everybody else, and they were like, "Wow, this movie was terrible," and I was like, "Oh, I liked it." And if I'm watching a movie at home just on streaming, it's either just gonna be me by myself watching it on my laptop or with my parents on like the Samsung TV that we have now. Granted, it's a nice TV, but it's not as impressive like image quality as a theater projector. So me personally, I prefer the theater going experience, but I also know to be, really careful and, not like, I don't want to bring anything home to my family. And I, I have, and even when theaters opened, I haven't really like gone out at all, and I don't plan on it anytime soon. Like I'm willing to sacrifice just I'm willing to just see movies like straight on streaming rather than go out to theaters now, even though they have reopened. But overall, like if like when it's safe to do so, I will definitely be going back to the theaters again. Like for example, like let's say that the virus is eradicated in July of 2021, and then they release a film in August, both in streaming and in theaters, like what they're doing with Wonder Woman. I'm gonna choose the theater but only when it's safe to do so. Like if it was safe right now, and Warner Brothers released Wonder Woman the same way, both on streaming and in theater, I would go to the theater. But because I don't fully trust to go to a theater, I'm choosing to watch Wonder Woman on streaming, even though that's really a theater movie.
Yeah, I don't know, I don't really have a problem with streaming. Like, I get it. Like, something like Wonder Woman is going to be big, it's going to be colorful, you're going to want to watch it in a theater. It's going to be like made to see in a theater. But at the same time, it's like, especially with COVID, like the streaming is going to be much more accessible. And I like don't have a problem with it in general. Even no matter how much I'd want to see Wonder Woman in a theater, because Wonder Woman would be something I definitely would have wanted to see in a theater.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, like I said before, I definitely would prefer to see Wonder Woman in a theater with fellow people who would probably cheer and clap at the same like cool action scenes or whatever. But, like I want to be safe, and, I'm choosing to see, like Wonder Woman and all these other movies in on streaming. Like what's it called? Like like last year, I tried really hard to watch Irishman and Marriage Story in a theater because I wasn't able to, but I tried really hard to because like well, even though that they were coming on Netflix only like a couple of weeks later, just seeing those movies in a theater with fellow cinephiles, fellow film lovers, would be a very awesome experience for me. Not just because both films are great, but also because I could have really like not like intellectual, but really, I guess, thought provoking in terms of like film as a language conversation about said films with fellow film lovers, fellow cinephiles. I know what I just said didn't make sense at all, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to get at.
No, I kind of get it. It's like you're talking about like film
Like for
being a
example, yeah,
communal experience.
like for example, like
Yeah.
last year, like Irishman and Marriage Story were released in select theaters first, and then
Mm-hmm.
a couple weeks later to straight to Netflix. And this year they're doing the same thing with movies like Mank and directed by David Fincher and the what's it called, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which is Chadwick Boseman's final film. They're
Mm-hmm.
releasing it in select theaters and then a couple weeks later straight to Netflix. Last year, I tried really hard to watch it in a theater, but I wasn't able to due to like scheduling conflicts, money, all that stuff. But this year, even though I have an opportunity to watch it in a theater, I'm not going to. I'm just going to wait until it goes straight to streaming for the sake of, being healthy and not bring anything home.
Yeah.
Because even though I would prefer to watch these types of movies in a theater, I want to, be safe. But there are a lot of people out there that are willing to go out. Well, maybe not a lot, but there are some people out there that are willing to go out to a theater and risk it. I'm just not one of those people.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, but kind of changing the subject. So I think you mentioned before that like productions are starting to shut down again. Like The Witcher season 2, Batman, you know, actors, crew members on both those productions and other productions have gone COVID and stuff. Do you think that a lot of productions will be able to continue like next year, or do you think that there's just going to be more like, oh, you know, like this actor got COVID, this crew member got COVID, so they have to shut it down and all that?
I think there might be a lot of that for a while. And like there's productions where they have like people wearing masks and stuff. Like there was a new show on, what is it, ABC? What's it called? Is it The Bench, or it's a legal drama where they like filmed it, but they have all the actors wearing masks.
Oh, like they purposely set the time period into like current, like the current time, so that
Yeah.
it would be so that the actors and characters would be wearing masks.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a network television show. It's like it stars a judge, and they're just doing like this whole season. It just takes place in like modern times, and like the actors and the characters are wearing masks.
They're doing that with a bunch of
So
shows,
it's like
Superstore and This
yeah.
Is Us. They just decide to, you know, set it, you know, in modern times, where at Superstore they have the,
Yeah.
you know, America Ferrera and other actors just wearing masks. They have, like, you know, This Is Us, they reference the pandemic and all that. And there are, you know, some people that like aren't happy with that. Like I have one friend on Facebook who literally like posts on Facebook that like, oh, he goes to watch like movies and shows to avoid thinking about the pandemic, and now he's being reminded of it, and that annoys him.
I think like you could watch different things to avoid the pandemic. Like anything that's taking place in modern times is gonna like affect the modern times. Like Superstores in particular highly discusses current events and like current social issues. So I don't see what like them avoiding COVID would be weird.
Yeah, honestly, I could see it both ways.
But
You know, I understand what you're
yeah.
getting at, but I could also understand his perspective a little, because there are definitely like shows and stuff that like I'm trying to watch that, you know, I'm okay with like watching something that addresses the pandemic, a fictional piece of media that addresses the pandemic, but most of the media I watch lately, because it's very stressful times and all that stuff, I just want to watch something that'll kind of distract me from reality. So I could kind of understand it both ways.
Yeah, I guess I get it. It's just I think what I find weird is like having a production, something that's going to be like big and involve like a lot of people from a bunch of like different places where they can't really quarantine, and the like a movie or a TV show like still being made. Like obviously I want more movies and TV shows to be made. I just am not sure it's like super appropriate to be working. Saying this being like in an essential industry where I go to work every day. But I think like there's still media being made that are more like singular, kind of like podcasts and YouTube, or like any kind of production where it's like a small amount of people kind of thing. I think that's more practical. So that's where my kind of issues with that come in. Like even if like everyone's wearing masks and stuff, it's like, how are they doing it? They're still like getting like hair and makeup done and doing like read-throughs in big groups. I don't know.
So
Like,
just to make sure, are you saying that, I could be misunderstanding what you just said, but are you saying that in your opinion there should be more like singular or like online only stuff, and less like meet in person productions of big movies or shows? Are you saying that there should be more like, for example, like Zoom readings of Shakespeare or whatever?
yeah, at least for the time being, I think stuff like that would be better because again, like things aren't normal right now. So I think like as much as I want these TV shows and stuff to get made and like exist in the forms that they did, I think it's less safe, if you get what I mean.
You're fine with them being delayed and postponed even longer for the sake of everybody's health and safety.
Yeah, honestly.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from. It is a bit of a dilemma for me because I really want to see, you know, like all these, you know, new shows and movies, but you know, at the same time, I agree with you. You know, I want to, you know, these all these actors and stuff and crew members and all these people to stay safe and social distance and all that, which is why I think, you know, it's good that, you know, they'll have like you know, they'll film like a bunch of stuff they actually filmed all through Zoom. Like I'm not just talking about like, you know, readings of Shakespeare or plays or whatever through Zoom, but I'm also talking about like actual like films. Like on Shudder they released a film called Host, which is you know, which they filmed all through Zoom. And I don't know if you heard about that. It's about basically these kids who all meet up through Zoom, and then they discover they all are basically taken out one by this mysterious, sinister force, and it was all filmed directly through Zoom. And on
Yeah, I did hear about that one.
yeah, I haven't seen it, but you know, I heard about, and I think that like the concept is pretty cool, like or how they made it is pretty cool. I don't know about the film itself though. And also they filmed on HBO, they made a movie also completely through Zoom called Coastal Elites with Issa Rae, Ben Midler, Dan Levy from Schitt's Creek, Caitlin Dever, and I can't remember. There's a fifth actress that I can't remember, but basically, Coastal Elites they filmed completely through Zoom, and that's about like five like random people who are basically talking about played by these actors who are talking about how the pandemic is affecting them.
Yeah, honestly, I love stuff like that, just kind of like weird experimental stuff where you're like kind of creatively constrained by circumstance. And it's like, I don't know, sorry about my cat, but if you want something weird like that, this is the time to do it when it's like less feasible to meet in person, because like any kind of safety measures you're putting in place in like a production, I don't know if it's going to be like enough, and it's got to like be a big strain to do like social distancing and masks for everyone.
Right. Yeah, no, yeah. They on all these productions they have a COVID prevention like officer. I'm not sure if that's the official title name, but I have a friend that I went to college with that she actually has a job working on these sets, and basically her job is to make sure that everybody's wearing masks, getting tested, getting their temperature taken, social distancing when they can, and all that. And basically, and also like basically, her job is to do all this stuff and also make sure that actors quarantine if they film scenes where they have to be in close proximity. And it's a really stressful job for her. Like she tells me that she works like 60 to 80 hour like work weeks, and she doesn't get much sleep. And you know, sometimes she'll get actors who are belligerent and you know like don't, you know, aren't as careful. So yeah, I'm sure it's not like easy for her.
Yeah, it's got to be difficult, and it's like hard to deal with, and like not everyone's going to be on the same page. Like they're going to be like, whatever, and then a lot of people are going to be like, no, I need to be safe, I have a compromised immune system, or I live with someone with a compromised immune system.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, so yeah, I think I do like kind of agree with you that, you know, like I think that, you know, I do think that it'd be cool to see like more experimental stuff where you can still be creative but also film from a distance or through Zoom or something like that. But you know, there's also a part of me that's like, oh, I really need like new content and all that stuff.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I wouldn't be opposed to seeing more stuff like Host or Coastal Elites, or there's this Netflix show that was also filmed all through Zoom called Social Distance, and also that documentary that came out back in April or May called Tiger King. They
Oh yeah,
filmed,
Tiger King.
yeah, that was like real big. It feels like it came out years ago, but it only came out like a few
Yeah.
months ago. But
Feels like it's been 84 years.
yeah, exactly. But they for that one, the documentary is filmed I think in like 2018 or 2019 or something like that. But like right after the show premiered on Netflix and it was a big hit, the many of the people involved in the documentary were interviewed by Joel McHale through Zoom. So
Yeah.
like stuff like that. I wouldn't mind seeing more like stuff like that.
Ugh, Tiger King. Okay.
Yes, Josh, those people are just such scumbags, though. Like the Tiger King people, a lot of them are just such awful people.
Honestly, Tiger King was such a wild ride. It's like
Yeah.
the documentary has everything in it, and none of it's stuff you want. And then there's so many weird twists and turns, and it's like, yeah, I just thought it was going to be a good old-fashioned story about a man abusing some animals, but no, it is not.
It's
a lot more than that.
It's definitely a lot more than that. Yeah, I mean they're terrible people, but I hope that they're like doing okay, like health wise. Like I'm not wishing, the virus on them, but I am wishing jail for all of them.
I mean, what's his name? The actual Tiger King. He got COVID in jail.
Oh, really? He did. Joe.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe Exotic. He
Oh, I
caught
didn't even hear
COVID
about
like
that.
early on. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't even hear about that. Dang. Like honestly, like COVID is such a weird like virus because you'll have like people that get really bad, symptoms, get really sick from it, but then you also have actors like Brian Cox and Dwayne The Rock Johnson who get the virus but exhibit zero symptoms. Like
Yeah.
both of those actors they weren't coughing, they weren't, having a fever or shortness of breath, and yet they still tested positive for COVID. So it's weird.
Yeah, like the symptoms can like exhibit themselves in a bunch of different ways, and it's like you don't know who's gonna get it or how long you've had it.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
which that is definitely an argument for what you were saying before, that maybe production should just halt completely until COVID is over, because like I mean we can be as safe as we want, but there's still I'm sure that the productions on the Witcher and the season 2 and the Batman and Jurassic World they're all being careful, or at least that's what I would like to believe. But
Yeah.
even just one careless person can lead to many people getting sick and one person even dying.
Yeah, because it just takes one person not being careful enough, and it's like people wear masks, but not everyone wears masks correctly.
Yeah, but before we stray too far away from talking about, let me ask you, like, do you think that like productions, movie release schedules, all that will go back to normal in 2021, or do you think that we'll still be dealing with these delays and the pandemic in general going into 2022?
Honestly, I think we're still going to be dealing with the pandemic in general in 2022, just because the response hasn't been great so far this year. And that said, it's like things were improving, but now they're getting worse again. I don't know how long it's going to take to work out the vaccine. I think at least 2 years. So like from when it started to like 2022, I don't think we could help for things going back to quote unquote normal. And like even when it's normal, like how is this going to affect how we interact? So far, it's like things going to digital streaming. like when theaters are open back up again, just because it's what people expect, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, and not just like in the movie industry, like other businesses, like delivery for restaurants, like any restaurant that wanted any hope of staying in business had to embrace delivery, even if that's something that they hadn't done before. So it's like, what's normal gonna be when things go back to normal?
Right. Yeah, no, I definitely get what you're saying. Yeah, I think that regardless of when the virus is eradicated and a vaccine is introduced, I still think that for a few months, no, actually, no, this is not even like me thinking. This is definitely going to happen where regardless of whenever the virus is eradicated, a few months afterwards, they're still gonna, highly recommend or even enforce masks, social distance, all that stuff. Just to be safe. And there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna be like, oh well, the virus is gone and they introduced a vaccine, so why do we have to do this? And all that craziness. So I think that movie to answer my own questions, I think that yeah, we're gonna be that regardless of whenever the virus is eradicated, we're still gonna be dealing with a really weird production movie production schedule and movie release schedules for a while, at least into 2022. So yeah, I don't think that things are gonna quite go back to quote unquote normal until 2022 either. I think 2021 is going to be, for the most part, a another like really weird, unpredictable, and stressful year for a lot of people, especially pertaining to what we're talking about today in the movie industry.
Yeah, definitely.
But did you have like any other like comments on like the state of the movie industry going into 2021, or did you want to mention like any other films coming out that like you're looking forward to seeing, hopefully like sooner than later?
Well, as far as like something about the state of the movie industry, I actually wanted to talk to you about this because you've been like virtually attending film festivals.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, how's that? That's the COVID experience. How's that experience?
So
Like,
what's interesting is that this is the so I attended two film festivals this year, which this year it's interesting because I've wanted to attend a film festival since like 2018, and I haven't been able to. It's funny. It took a pandemic for me to finally be able to attend a film festival. Granted, it was all online.
mhm.
So yeah, so like I actually last year I actually tried to attend the Virginia Film Festival in person in Charlottesville, but like I was talking with my friend about driving there and seeing all these films, but just the scheduling and money wise, it didn't work out. But this year I got to attend the Hamptons International Film Festival and the New York Film Fest. Not New York, sorry, Virginia. I wish I attended New York, but Virginia Film Festival all online. And these are my very first film festivals that I attended. And seeing all these films, so basically, how it worked is that I basically paid for the tickets online, and for both film festivals, there are drive-in theater options and virtual screening options. And I selected all the virtual screening options, and then I paid for the tickets. I was emailed directly a screener link to these movies, and then I just clicked on the link through the email, and then I was able to watch the movies, on my laptop. And I really enjoyed like it was I was nice seeing these films, early before they come into theaters or like streaming or whatever, and I enjoyed them. But I will confess, like there was a part of me that was also like, man, this would have been so cool if I could have actually gone out to Long Island, New York, where the Hamptons Festival is usually held, or like Charlottesville, Virginia, and actually like be in an auditorium and see this these films in an auditorium with fellow, like film lovers, fellow cinephiles. Again, repeating what I said earlier, but I do think that it was very wise. It's very wise of these festivals to do like online, like both like drive-in and virtual screenings, and drive-in theaters. Like drive-in theaters have done much better this year because of the virus, and it'll probably they'll continue to do really well next year because COVID's definitely going to go on till at least like next year. But yeah, attending a film festival, I do want to attend a film festival like in person to get the full like film festival experience. But for the Hamptons Film Festival, for my first film festival, it was overall a good experience, and I got to see these films early from the comfort and safety of my own home.
It's like takes a pandemic to bring drive-through theaters back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually gonna try to go to a drive-in theater both last year and this year, but unfortunately the drive-in theaters are like too far from my house, and I don't have too much money to spare for gas money, so I decided against it.
I know. I'd love to go to one. They're like so interesting. I could talk about like the culture that popped up, like drive-in movie theaters back in the 50s for a long time, but that's like very off topic. But I'm just glad they're getting a resurgence in popularity.
I'm very happy for these theater owners, and I think that I definitely want to go to a drive-in theater one day, hopefully sooner than later. But I don't mind, like I don't mind like there are these films that are coming to streaming like early, and I don't mind seeing many of these films from like my laptop. In fact, I actually think that some of these films that went to streaming are meant to go to streaming. For example, earlier today, I watched this film that came on Hulu just today called Happiest Season, and it stars Kristen Stewart and Mackenzie Davis as a lesbian couple who go to visit.
Yes, I've been wanting to watch that. Okay, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Don't spoil it. Okay.
I'm just gonna describe the very basic plot of the movie, which is basically Kristen Stewart plays Abby. Her name's Abby, and her girlfriend's name is Harper, I think. Basically, played by Mackenzie Davis. Basically, Abby is going with Harper to visit Harper's very conservative family for Christmas, and Harper hasn't come out as gay to her family yet. And so that's a whole, dilemma, and it takes place on Christmas. And I won't say anything else. All I'm gonna say is that movie, to me, if I had seen that movie, if I had paid $15 a ticket to see that movie in the theater, I would have felt like I was ripped off a little.
Mm-hmm.
But because I pay like, what is it? I think like $10 for Hulu. And I get so much more content, including this movie. I felt like that was a better deal, and I was able to enjoy the movie a little. I feel like I enjoyed the movie a little bit more watching it directly on Hulu rather than if I had seen that movie in a theater and paid money just for that movie. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying, and that reminds me of another thing. Like you mentioned, like money and like paying $15 to go see it. Like film tickets have gotten much more expensive, and that's like inherently inaccessible. But like with COVID like happening, we're facing like an economic downturn, and traditionally like during like economic depressions, like purchasing movie tickets, like the amount purchased goes up like a lot. Is like that sense of like escapism, like people going to theaters for escapism. But with digital, I'm wondering how that's going to affect it, because it's like you could still pay like $10 for Hulu and like get much more content,
right?
Versus like going out to the movies.
I definitely think that, well, this is a conversation that's been going on for a while, even before COVID, like
Yeah.
when streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, all that, there's definitely been a conversation like, oh, are theaters going to die out? Now, before COVID, I would have said no, theaters are still very relevant. They're still like, look at like how much money Avengers Endgame made at the box office. But thanks to COVID, my opinion has changed a little bit. I don't think that theaters are going to completely die out, but I do think that there are going to be some theaters that are going to go bankrupt. Like, I do think, like, before COVID, if you had asked me if AMC theaters was going to go bankrupt, would have been like, no, are you crazy? But now, thanks to COVID, I'm like, they're probably going to go bankrupt.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to make the market more competitive.
Yeah.
And I think if a lot more stuff goes to streaming, I don't think it would kill theaters. Like we were talking about, like drive-in movie theaters like hung around, even though they were very unpopular.
Right.
So it's like things like that, and it's paying for more of an experience. I don't know, there's lots of like historical parallels where like when TV was invented, it killed the film industry, but like movies hung around, they just had to adjust.
Yeah.
But then like this is a huge shift suddenly, and it's like interesting to see where that's gonna go.
Right, right. Yeah. I think that, I don't think that theaters are going to die out completely, but the industry is going to change a lot, thanks to both COVID and an increase in streaming. And also, and even Disney, and even Disney, admitted that they're going forward, they're putting much more attention on putting stuff like directly onto Disney Plus rather than, other mediums. Don't be surprised if like in 2025 we're going to have the next upcoming Disney Pixar film will not be in theaters at all. Just like Soul, it'll go directly straight to Disney Plus or something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. And it's like, I have like no idea where it's gonna go. I mean, I like have some idea, but like I feel like speculating so futile with like the way things have been changing so rapidly.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, with COVID, I'm not even trying to predict anymore. I'm just kind of like
Yeah.
just going along with the flow. And if whatever happens, if I like it, I like it. If I don't like it, then I don't like it. Like I'm not even going to try to predict or set any expectations for just not just the movies, but just in general with COVID anymore. I'm not going to. I'm just going to be as neutral as possible.
Yeah. It's kind of like we're all just along for the ride and we have no idea what's gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Me personally, I think I've said everything that I want to say about like 2020 and like movies and the movie industry. So, if you have any like final thoughts, I'd love to hear it.
I don't know. I've said like a lot too. I don't think I can add anything without just like repeating points that I've made.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, like one last thing I'll say is that I think the world will be back to normal by at least like 2023. I think that theaters will survive, but I do think that, like not just Disney, but a lot of these other companies will definitely put more focus onto streaming. Even with the virus gone, we're definitely going to be wearing masks for at least a few months after the virus is gone, just, to be careful. And one last thing is that I think that you'll like Happiest Season.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen the trailer and I'm like, I really want to see it, but I'm kind of like waiting till Christmas to like make it special. And then I'm going to watch Happiest Season and Jingle Jangle.
Jingle Jangle, what's that?
It's, what is it? I think it's coming out on Netflix. I think it has an all black cast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's an unfortunate rarity for Christmas movies.
I know. And like, who wrote it? Let's see. It's directed by David E. Talbert and it's screenplayed by the same let's see. The description is decades after his apprentice betrays him, a once joyful toy maker finds new hope when his bright young granddaughter appears on his doorstep. And like, who's in the cast? It's Forrest Whitaker, Keegan Michael Key, Madeline Mills. I think she's a new talent, but like, yeah, it looks interesting. Okay, so it's not like an all black cast, but like all black leads.
Well, hopefully it'll be good. Yeah, I think that that's pretty cool that they're making a Christmas movie with, like all black leads. And I really like Forrest Whitaker and Keegan Michael Key. So yeah, you said, so yeah, Netflix. Yeah, I mean, I have
Yeah, it's on
Netflix,
Netflix.
so I'll probably
it's streaming now. So yeah,
I'll probably check it out at some point. Yeah. And yeah, I like I said, I think that you and your girlfriend actually will. Oh wait, not girlfriend, fiance now. Oh my gosh.
yeah, fiance now.
Yeah, so I think that you guys will. It's very time. I think it'll be a very enjoyable and timely movie for you to watch on. Watch Happiest Season on Hulu, because also another. This isn't a spoiler. It's in the trailer, but another plot point of Happiest Season is that Abby is actually was planning on proposing to Harper on Christmas, but Harper hasn't even come out to her family as gay yet. So what will happen next?
Yo, what's gonna happen next? I'm so excited. Like, I've been a fan of Mackenzie Davis for years.
Yeah.
And Kristen Stewart, of course, and like Dan Levy, love him.
Yeah, Dan. I'm not gonna say anything about who like Dan Levy plays or like what he says. I will say though that he is the best character in the movie.
He steals a scene.
Yeah. Like he steals every scene that he's in that movie.
That's exactly what I want for him.
Yeah. So yeah, I recommend that you and your girlfriends watch it, and I'll check out Jingle Jangle at some point, and hopefully I'll like it.
Yeah, Happiest Season, was it directed by, who's the director? Was it
Clea Duvall?
Clea Duvall? Yeah, I've been
Clea
a fan
Duvall.
of
She's like.
But I'm a cheerleader, so like.
Oh yeah. But I'm a cheerleader with her and Natasha Lyonne. I almost forgot about that movie.
Love that movie. It's so, like, we talked about Wes Anderson before. That's like Wes Anderson level of set design.
Yeah, definitely. Clea Duvall, she's a great actress, and I think this might be her first movie that she directed. I'm not sure, but
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought she did, a decent job. And I mean, I have issues with Happiest Season for sure, but overall I thought it was enjoyable. And Clea Duvall, I hope that she'll direct more. And Kristen Stewart just continues to get better, in my opinion. And she's come a long. She and Robert Pattinson have come a long way from Twilight.
Oh, Twilight.
I probably should rewatch But I'm a Cheerleader at some point, because I remember liking it, but I can't remember exactly like everything that happens in that movie. So I'm probably gonna rewatch that too at some point.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's probably like one of my favorites. I don't know how to quantify my love for But I'm a Cheerleader, but it means the world to me.
Yeah. I'll probably really like it again when I rewatch it. I hope that 2020 and 2021, that regardless of what happens, that everybody will be safe out there. All these actors, crew members, all of them will be careful and safe, and hopefully be smart. And I hope that we'll still be able to get like new, fresh, original content despite the delays and production postponements, all that stuff. And and I hope that 2021 will be at least slightly better than 2020.
Yeah, here's hoping to 2021 being better.
Yeah, here's hoping. So yeah, that has been another episode of Podcast Racing. Roxy, I want to thank you again for talking being on the podcast and talking about movies and stuff with me. And I hope that you'll be on the podcast again.
Yeah, of course. I'd love to. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. And all of you out there, I want to thank you guys for listening. I hope that you're all doing well, staying safe out there. And I hope that all of you have a really good night as well. Bye.